Hello. I have been reading, what is it called? A book by Brene Brown called, I don't know what it's called. It has a blue cover. Oh, The Gifts of Imperfection, I think it's called. And I really, I guess, well, there's been a lot of things in it that I'm like, oh my goodness, I wish I had read this a few years ago, or I wish, I don't know, somebody had been there in my life to share these ways of interacting with me. I wish someone had, you know, anyway, um, I wish I'd been in different environments and exposed to the kind of, I don't know, mindsets in this book. But anyway, better late than never. And the book just talks about, well, okay, talks about a lot of things. I'm not done reading it, but the thing that's sticking out in my mind the most right now is being able to identify shame. And I don't know, there's something in that, in the confusion of, you know, the ways that I judge myself based on internalized ways I've seen other people being judged or ways people have judged me. We're all just products of our environment, so we can't really get, I don't know, we have to just be like, yeah, this is how things are. We've all been affected in some type of really negative way by the environments we've been in, but there's also really good things about how we've all found our ways to cope with the disgusting environments the life throws against us. And I don't know. I'm still learning about what I think with shame compared to guilt, but um something that um I was thinking, well, I don't know. I'm just thinking in general how shame impacts the way that I live daily. Like shame isn't just because we feel something doesn't mean that it is useful or really, for me, I think whatever's true is whatever's the most useful thing. Whatever's the most pragmatic, practical, long-term type of thing. So, um, I'm just, I've been thinking lately about how um, shame impacts and has impacted the way that I go about my daily life, the way I tell myself that I'm not um, worthwhile or I'm not, you know, good as I am now, just in the present. That's something the book addresses is the way that we tell ourselves of like, I'll be good enough when XYZ happens. Um and I don't know, just the ways feeling not good enough and feeling this sense of disconnection and being harmed by other people, especially the people that we're supposed to be able to trust. It's a really heavy subject, but just the way that that harms everybody. And I don't know, the ways people try to take shortcuts or try to, desperately make something good happen with the best of intentions, but the ways that accidentally it can cause, scarring other people with shame. I'm thinking specifically in relation to parenting or mentoring or teaching or anything where there is kind of an agreed upon power differential or, an obvious power differential. Um, in the ways that shame is used to motivate and persuade and try to get an outcome, but it's like shame can actually do great damage. Like shame can do great damage that not only prevents the desired outcome, but leaves somebody less capable of even finding an alternate but equally viable outcome. Like shame, especially shame when there's not the opposite involved, like the opposite of love and celebration and praise, especially when that isn't in the picture. Shame does a lot of damage, and it's definitely been a really big factor in my life and um kind of I don't know, I've just been thinking lately about how everybody is like, we have these strong senses of identity, this strong and that's good, that's healthy, you know. We need that to not be depersonalized. We need that in order to feel secure and feel like there's some kind of narrative and plot that is like the basic stable working material to develop a life from. So it is good to think about having a strong identity, or to think in terms of having a strong identity. But also I've just been thinking lately about how um we're all kind of just in a sense and in many real ways we're all just kind of products of our environment and our like the points in history that we were born into and chance interactions and just factors beyond our control. And in that way to understand that terrible things that might incur guilt, especially the guilt over feeling shame, which I know is funny, but just the guilt of feeling like we're not as strong or whole or healthy as we need to be in order to protect ourselves and protect the ones that we love. Just all these kind of guilt is like, I don't know, we can't really take it that personally because it's a symptom of the social systems that we're in or have been in, more so than symptoms of like personal shame. Like, isn't that kind of the medieval, I don't know, the medieval thing where people would like persecute and torture and heavily punish people, um, and the pointing of blame onto one targeted individual as the source of all the whatever's causing the stress. Um, that kind of thing. Well, I haven't read it yet, but Brene Brown has the other book called, it's something like I Thought It Was Just Me. And she talks about it in this book I'm reading too, The Gifts of Imperfection, talking about how shame, um, you know, it is increased by the sense of isolation, like this feeling like I'm not just experiencing something that like everybody deals with as humans or most people, depending on what the thing is, um, or that it's like a symptom of a societal thing or a historical thing, you know, especially in terms of just how governments are operated and things like very beyond our control. And it's a lot to try to think logically to remember all the factors that are stacked against us and to remember to, I don't know, remember how to sort through all the destructive emotions that prevent us all from being able to freely, I don't know, feel comfortable to just do whatever feels interesting in the moment. To do whatever actually feels interesting and enjoyable and helps other people, helps yourself with whatever definitions you might use for that. Um, yeah. Um, that's the kind of thing I've been thinking about, and I'm really glad for reading this book. I'm gonna keep on reading it. Um, I guess I um am first practicing and trying to identify the ways that shame harms me, and instead of what I would normally do is just like feel really afraid and like, block it out, distract, trying to figure out the ways that shame can help me or be an opportunity to feel more connected to myself and my truth and affirming that I am um, not alone and that I have, by my truth, I mean my life path or the, I don't want to say mission, but I guess everybody kind of feels like, in a sense, they're on a mission, whether that is to embody some kind of spiritual idea. Everyone wants to feel like they have some kind of overarching meaning, and I think that's the best gift we can give ourselves and each other after experiencing trauma is to celebrate the um the beauty of um whatever we think that trauma um led to, like, whatever positive qualities or positive or just, useful lessons that we learned. And yeah, um I'm also trying to, well, I have a muscle in my chest. I think I strained it when using weights, and then I was doing this big open arm stretch and twisting, and I felt a strong twinge in there, and like ever since, it's just like kind of an ongoing soreness, some muscle in my chest, and it's like I can't quite tell. Like sometimes the same movement makes it worse. um, and other times that same movement doesn't make it worse. It like feels fine. So it's confusing, but I'm just trying to wait it out and not strain too much in the meantime and, not jump to conclusions like I'm never going to be able to be healthy, my body is broken, I'm trying to just see it as, oh, I'm just getting older and not even that, but anyone at any age can get a little muscle tear or whatever it is. And just because I've never experienced it before doesn't mean that it's some sign of some big, like, horrific chapter of my life that I'm stepping into. Um, but I still want to respect the fact that I have that weird chest muscle pain going on and take it easier, especially with stretches. Be able to feel more, I don't know, feel into more subtle type of stretches or just figure out another way to do things that isn't so much about striving and trying to like push um for like the desired positions or greater flexibility or whatever. So um let's see. Um what else has been on my mind? I've also been thinking about how to identify who I am that's authentic, um, which I'm also reading about in The Gifts of Imperfection. But how do it's been an ongoing question I've been asking myself for a few years is like, who am I after everything and all these seemingly incongruous things? Like really, who am I? Like on a human level, like what places, things, activities, clothing, like self-care practices, money-making activities, relationship dynamics, roles that I play in relationships, um, like media interests, like what are what is authentic, and I know authentic can change. Sometimes authentic is just somehow I like all these random things and I don't know yet. Um, but I think for the sense of like simplifying my mind and to have more ease of decision making and a sense of certainty, like I know who I am and therefore I can just easily cross something off, you know? Like it just simplifies things to have a clear sense of what works for you in this, a certain chapter of your life. And I'm trying to move into a chapter of my life where I can be more efficient with my time and my energy. Um, and that requires faster decision making and less waffling. I don't know what other word to use, but like less waffling about I don't know if I like this or not. I don't know if this is me or not. I don't know what I should do. I don't know how I should respond to somebody because I don't know which perspective to take. Like, I think a lot of people, that's like a lot of other people, that's both a positive and a negative of being empathetic and strategic and like, I don't know, I don't know, creative, problem solving, goal oriented, flexible, like whatever perspective you want to come at it from, is that like being able to imagine quite a few different possibilities or reasons why these things are good, or even just being able to like relate to and celebrate so many different things that it becomes so confusing. Like, okay, but which one is me? Like, I can appreciate this, but does that mean it's me? And if I am already doing something, can that mean that it isn't me? Or it's not right for me right now, or I want to experience something else? Um, I don't know. The whole ideas of like transforming growth, change, how all the small moments eventually add up to big observable changes in very practical ways, like opportunities, money, stable resources, like access to better, healthier environments and different personalities of people with different subcultures and different kind of accepted ethics, and how like there are really real differences that we can experience in the world that can increase or decrease stress, and in the very small, or sometimes not small, sometimes I read in the Gifts of Imperfection book, sometimes the big um or like the big fast and easy changes can be the ones that really make the necessary difference also. Like, so just all the changes, like how to be able to, I don't know, orchestrate things to have the outcome that you want, and how not to get so caught up in trying to have all the outcomes that I'm not able to enjoy the most important outcomes for myself, because there is also that phrase of you can do anything but not everything, and some trade-offs are worth it for me compared to others, which also changes throughout our life depending on health, depending on just what environments we've been in and what kind of philosophies and beliefs and narratives are currently in the forefront of our mind. Has to do with um, you know, how much stress we've been experiencing. And I don't know, it just boggles my mind sometimes, like how little control um, we all have as people, but yet we're still able to make big differences. And I know for myself, I do have, the awareness that one of my goals is to be living an everyday life that makes necessary healthy things more enjoyable. Like, for example, exercise. Like, I'm, I don't like going out on walks alone. Like, I did when I was younger, but I don't anymore. Like, I just don't. And I had been stuck kind of judging myself for a while, being like, oh, like, I'm becoming weak. I probably don't need to say all the things that are going through my head, but like feeling that sense of shame that, like, I used to be so independent and like um love doing things alone, and and I feel like I just don't have the willpower anymore. Like, it feels like it feels more stressful for me to be alone doing things because I do have like that hypervigilance kind of thing, and it just takes out so much energy compared to when I'm with someone or a group of people. Then it feels heavenly, like, okay, I can actually enjoy being out in nature and actually like enjoy the exercise and think more about like subtle body movements or like appreciating the beautiful plants that I'm seeing or taking pictures or getting more curious about the birds and watching the birds and more patience to sit there still and observe and listen. Like I saw a really cool hummingbird a couple days ago that was pretty close by. I had never heard a hummingbird make a sound before. But and if I was alone, I would have seen the hummingbird above the bush and be like, "Oh, cool, a hummingbird," and I would have kept on going because I would have been in that hectic, kind of stressed out state of being alone. The hypervigilance kind of feeling like always have to be on the move, or it might give someone the opportunity to like catch up to me or harass me or think I'm like loitering or open to their energy being put upon me or whatever. Um, it feels like I just always have to be like on the move. Like I have a plan, I have a purpose. Um, so because I was with my boyfriend, when I saw this hummingbird, I was able to just like feel comfortable enough to sit there and listen to it eventually make a sound. Like it was flitting around, but then eventually it landed on the bush. It was making these really cool, kind of like mechanical, technological sounds, I would describe it as. I never heard a hummingbird before. It sounded so cool. I was able to watch it sit on the bush. It was a really overcast day close to the not exactly an ocean. It's like a bay that eventually connects to the ocean. I don't know my geography terminology, but it was like really close to the water with the sand and everything. And I was like, interesting. Like I wouldn't have really expected to see a hummingbird in this environment before, just because I never have. And I could hear the waves alongside with the hummingbird making sounds, and I could see its red throat a little bit. It was a little bit from a distance, but I could tell it had a red throat, and I was able to just like admire how cute and small it was, and it was just sitting on the branch, resting, conserving its energy because I don't even know how much food sources it has this time of year, like where it's getting them, because there aren't very many flowers out. And I watched it like raise its wings up a couple times. It was like stretching its wings and just felt so precious. And I was like, I don't know, I think these kind of things are important for me to consciously realize because normally I would kind of be thinking like I would be experiencing shame for like not being independent or, taking on fears or narratives that don't apply to me. Um, and it might have been helpful for me in the past, um, or accessible even. Accessible, helpful in a sense, not as an actual philosophy or strategy, but helpful in the sense of it got the right result that I needed at the time. I'm talking about codependence, okay? I'm talking about how when I was younger, like in really um, painful and confusing relationship dynamics, I like when I left one of those, like I was listening to a lot of things on the internet about um like codependence, and I was trying to take responsibility for myself, but it's kind of like at some point that kind of harsh terminology and those kind of like I don't know, the really forceful, incompassionate, like dehumanizing ways of understanding things like I was more numb then, and maybe that's kind of the phrasing that made sense to me at the time, but I'm not numb like that anymore. I am very sensitive to imagining cause and effect, chains of cause and effect. I do already get stuck in overthinking things. So, those kind of perspectives aren't really useful for me any longer. So, it's like going through the shame in my own mind, the shame in my own mind of being like, in the past, I'd be judging myself. Like, I feel ashamed. Like, I must be codependent. Um, I must be, um, what, like, weak or whatever it is in order to experience most freedom and joy doing an activity with someone I love and trust. But it's like now my philosophy, um, what I'm noticing is like my philosophy in that kind of sense, it's become more like it is so nourishing for me to experience um, going out in nature with someone I love, um, and doing these things together. And I do need more opportunities. Like, I don't want to be in the position of being dependent on somebody to have good, um, you know, to be able to have enjoyable experiences in nature and have good exercise like that. But to some degree, there's that compassion of like, I can have anything, but not everything. And um, that's just kind of my circumstance right now. What enables me, what supports me to have um, the exercise, to have the presence of mind to feel safe enough to observe and soak in and feel some wonder. And I know it's not going to be forever. Um, and I also think that um, I think that there's a lot of different um, like subtle, what's it called? I don't know, micro environment or micro moods or micro narratives, to try to have a logical mental understanding to make my decisions and filter my emotions based upon. I think that there are a lot of those kind of micro things that I can bring into my life to flesh things out and bring things into more clarity and focus. And I think it is, of course, wise to never, like long term, it's just not a long term practical solution to, for me at least, for me, that I want to experience of like having to wait on someone to go out because I do really love being in nature alone. I do really love um having those times of reflection. I used to enjoy it so much when I was younger, but my mental health and my physical health is just not there at the moment. So instead of me rejecting myself and kind of the factors um that I require in order to like fully accept and nurture who I am at the moment, instead of choosing that, I'm choosing to nurture myself and express gratitude for the support and the beautiful circumstances in my life which do allow me to um to receive the nurturing that everyone deserves, that I deserve, but to receive it in the way that I can experience it as nurturing. You know, it's like nurturing is not um sometimes nurturing isn't just like crossing things off a list. It's like it matters the spirit in which things are done in order to really be able to like embody or receive what you're intended to take from this nurturing thing that the word is attached to, you know. If that word is eating, like if you there's a lot of different spirits or ways in which moods in which styles in which you can eat, but some are going to be more nurturing than others, especially depending on your own unique factors. So I guess this is just where I'm at um, today in terms of considering like who am I and how can I be compassionate for myself, identify shame as a part of being compassionate for myself, and continue taking courageous steps to uh, improve my quality of life and improve my health um, so that I can take part in the joy and the pleasure of loving and caring for the people who matter to me. Um, so, and that's another thing I was thinking about recently is that there's a big difference mentally in the attitudes of owing something compared to delighting in something or loving something or feeling gratitude for something. So it really does matter the ways in which it's framed in our minds and the way that we frame things to other people. Because sometimes our intentions can accidentally have the opposite effect. I know I'm speaking very vaguely. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna moving forward, being like I'm going to experience more joy, more security, more patience, more, you know, being courageous to identify shame, to identify the things, the automatic thought processes that might separate me from nurturing myself, and in turn separate other people from the joy of nurturing me, or separate other people from the joy of being nurtured by me. And yeah,